agents to these mobile money operators and the deposit money banks.
And the reason I'm asking is because in other places you can go to a post office and you'll be able to have banking transaction there. You can go to a corner shop where it's a small shop and the person has an ATM on the inside that will charge you £1 or something of that nature.
Absolutely.
But I haven't seen anything of that nature anywhere in Nigeria. Where are those places, especially in the remote areas? What efforts are banks putting in place to make this happen?
We have a running project with NIPOST. We have a PPP project with them, a private-public partnership. Central Bank has appointed a consultant. That's in conjunction with the Ministry of Communication. We have appointed a consultant. They have done level 1. They have done level 2. At the level we are now is appointing a transaction advisor. So we're already looking at that. And when that is concluded, all the post offices and postal agents in Nigeria will serve as agents to financial institutions, not only for financial inclusion, but also for digital inclusion. But as we speak, deposit money banks and mobile money operators have appointed agents that can do transactions on their behalf.
Okay, so for those who are still naysayers when it comes to this, those skeptics, what would be the message that you would want to deliver to them? What would you be saying to them?
I would say to them that cashless is the way to go. I'll understand if it takes a bit of time because you're changing attitude essentially.
And they're probably going to be saying to you, look, this is not London or America. This is not Nigeria.
We understand that, but I know that with time, people will come around to it. Because it just makes sense, actually. I mean, the benefits far outweigh the disadvantage. So there's really no reason why anybody at some point will not pick it up and go with it.
Mr. Manuel, let me help you. Let me help you market a bit.
Yes, please.
You would also be interested to know that those cards are not only useful within Nigeria.
Yes.
I went to the bank when I was going on my holiday to purchase my basic travel allowance. And my manager says to me, you have a MasterCard. You don't need to buy basic travel allowance.
Absolutely.
You can use your MasterCard abroad. And in shops in America, in shops in Peru, I was swiping my Nigerian card and paying.
Absolutely.
And you can spend up to $150,000 on your card.
Yes. So those cards are useful. Even when you travel, you don't need to carry cash with you. You can use them outside Nigeria.
It's all part of what had happened with the cashless initiative. It's actually, I mean, PayPal has come into this country, for example. It's massive. I mean, it's a major payment platform all over the world. Nigeria had been out of it for a long time. But seeing what is happening with the cashless, in the transformations in our payment systems, and they actually brought themselves here. So that's really how these things work. Once you get the traction you require, it begins to pull.
To gather momentum.
Yes.
Okay, Mr.
So it can only get better.
Yes.
Yeah, it can only get better. But let me just ask you this final question, which I think I alluded to at the beginning. The issue of ATM errors, and they're not few and far between, they're quite regular. What is CBN doing to make sure this is dealt with? Yes, it might be considered as part of the teething problems, but when a teething problem gets to a certain age, you begin to wonder, is this child ever going to grow?
Thank you very much. I actually thought that I would take that offline with you, since you mentioned it in the introduction. But since you have commented on it, I will make a response. You are right that it is a problem, and it is recognized by CBN, even in the guideline that we issued. The guideline is that if you have an ATM problem on a bank that issued the card to you, that's issuer, you use their ATM and you had a problem, that they must respond to you within 24 hours, and they must resolve the problem within 24 hours. But if you have
if they don't, what do we do?
Then you complain to us. We have a consumer protection department. So that issue that you mentioned, you can flag it. We have, and it's on CBN.
Mine took about 8 days.
It may, but that is not the regulation. The regulation is that if it is a not on us, that is, a bank A issued you a card, but you went to the ATM belonging to Bank B, and you use your card, and maybe there is a partial dispense or non-dispense, you lodge a complaint, they must respond to you within 24 hours, and within 72 hours, they must resolve the problem. But we have even taken the issue far beyond that. Just last month, the central bank issued a circular to all the banks that you don't even have, consumers don't even have to go and lodge complaints physically because these things are automated.
It should show in your, yes.
It should show. And on their system, they should be able to know that, oh, there has been a problem. This guy's account was debited and no cash was dispensed. Yes. So, automatically,
you put it back.
They should put it back. So that's going forward.
Which is what I was told. I was at the airport. I was told that don't worry, within 24 hours the money, and then I just left it. And then just about a week after, I thought that money didn't come back into my account. I need it back now.
I hope the banks are listening because Mr. Fatokun has told the whole world, if that kind of thing happens to you and you don't get your money within 24 hours, you have a right to report.
Yeah, that's on us. On
if it is not on us, 72 hours. That is if it is another bank.
Okay.
You use the machine.
72 hours. You have a right to complain.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you complain, do you get any something to make you happy for your complaint?
some interest for the delay.
Not directly, but banks really don't like to have complaints from their customers. Because a dissatisfied...
Going to CBN.
No, it's not. They don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like it. So that is the reason why, as much as possible, they want to make sure that your complaints are attended to as fast as possible.
So that we don't have to go and report to the headmaster.
Yes.
Okay.
We're just wrapping up now, but somebody's just sent a message saying, Buchiogba says, CBN closed off-site ATMs, which would have aided cashless society. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. It's
okay. True. What is off-site ATMs and why is it closed?
Okay, thank you. We issued licenses to 3 companies. We call them IADs. That's independent ATM deployers. What we have currently is that banks deploy ATMs. But some years ago, I think 2007 or thereabout, or 2009, 3 companies came up with an idea that though we are not commercial banks, but we can go out and deploy ATMs outside the bank branches. That is why we call it off-site ATMs.
Like at the airport?
Like at the airports, like at the malls, and in other locations, or post offices and things like that. So Central Bank issued licenses to 3 of them. But they had difficulties in living up to what they thought they could do. And the difficulty essentially stemmed from the fact that the cash that they should store in these ATMs do not really belong to them. So there were issues with getting the cash from the banks. And so that project did not succeed, and it died. So because we saw that the project was a failure, that was why Central Bank said, no, this is not a model that we can allow. Because when those companies actually came up, CBN was in sync with them, and CBN said, okay, they will be the only ones that will deploy off-site ATMs. That banks can only deploy ATMs in their own offices and branches. But because the project did not succeed, the Central Bank said, we cannot allow Nigerians to suffer. They need ATMs all over the places. And these people that promised to do it cannot do it. So banks were now allowed to deploy off-site ATMs. So that was what happened.
So all the shopping malls, it's only banks?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Want to say thank you very much for your time. It's been a very interesting conversation, and we've had quite a few people commenting on Twitter, but I'll say 60, 70, 80% of those comments are appreciation of the fact that cashless society, cashless Nigeria is a very welcome idea. So I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Chidi Umena, who's the head of shared services. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And also Mr. Dipo Fatokun, director of banking and PYT system, payment system within the CBN. Both of you work for CBN. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks again.
So Sunrise is not going away. When we come back, we'll have another interesting conversation awaiting you. So grab a cup of coffee, whatever you like, whatever catches your fancy, get it, and then join us again.
It's football.
Oh, yes.